Let's get some reaction to that. I'm now joined by the Transport Portfolio Committee chairperson, Mr. Donald Selamolela, and the founder of Public Interest to South Africa, Tebogo Khaas, also joins us this evening. Gentlemen, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Chair, I think I will start with you. Just your initial reaction seeing the arrest and now appearance of Brian Molefe as well as Siyabonga Gama alongside two others in the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court. Is this a step in the right direction? Just initial thoughts.
Knowledge, greetings to you and greetings to Tebogo Khaas on the other line, and greetings to our viewers, the people of South Africa at large. We from the Portfolio Committee on Transport of the Republic of South Africa, we welcome the developments with two hands, precisely because the 1064 contract is one of the contracts that has plunged the entity Transnet into chaos. And as you will know, the chaos that has been created in Transnet has impacted the economy of South Africa very, very negatively. And therefore, any step that seeks towards resolving and finding the culprit who created that particular mess, but also moving towards resolving that particular challenge is welcome with two hands by ourselves on behalf of the people of the Republic.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Khaas, from the perspective of public interest to South Africa, are we moving in the right direction?
Well, certainly I couldn't agree more with what my colleague, Mrs. Selamolela, has just said, in the sense that this is long overdue. However, all the same, we welcome what the Independent Directorate Against Corruption has done, the steps that they've taken. We believe that at least for once, we will start to see accountability insofar as the corruption and theft and wrongdoing that occurred at Transnet. Obviously, we do, as the law enjoins us, believe the individuals that appeared in court are presumed innocent until proven otherwise. However, we believe that the kind of egregious corruption that actually happened at Transnet should not be countenanced, and it's about time that consequence management is being met by those behind such corruption. I mean, we are not talking just about the billions of money being taken off the fiscus via Transnet, but here we're talking about the setback to the general economy, where there were plans to move freight away from the roads with all the adverse repercussions that has on the roads, and make sure that there's efficiency in the economy by making sure that the rail and the rail cargo network is improved. And yet we still haven't seen that more than 10 years after the project had actually commenced. So we really do welcome this move by the IDEC.
You know, I do actually want to get into the point that you're raising, the impact that the allegations, and this is the thing, again, Mr. Khaas saying that those that we see in court presumed innocent until proven guilty, and that being something that we do need to uphold here. But there is something about the monies that we're talking about that disappeared a decade ago. I mean, the reports are that December 2015, Transnet paid Gupta-linked trillion 93 million rand that was signed off by the CFO. Just days later, 74 million rand rerouted, a project that initially was supposed to be, at some point was supposed to be 38 billion rand, jumping to more than 50 billion rand, that is to procure locomotives. It's a long time ago, and perhaps, Mr. Selamolela, you can help us with the impact over the long term in the past 10 years that some of these activities would have had on the sector.
Look, and I agree with Khaas that first that those who appear before the court, obviously they are presumed innocent until proven guilty. What is important for us is that they have a light to shed. Information has to be provided in their part. If they are not guilty, they will also assist us in getting to the root cause of what the problem has been. The truth is, Naledi, and this is what the people of South Africa must know, that contract of 1064 has robbed South African economy. It has robbed our people jobs. It has created economic crisis. It has created death on the roads, because when lot of these baggage that was supposed to be carried through these particular trains was now diverted to road, it created a logistic problem in the country. When logistic problem has been created in the country, it has impacted on the collection of revenue. The collection of revenue has now created a situation where the basket for distribution for social economic spending has shrinked. So the impact is way too much. By now, if that money that we are speaking about had been injected into this economy, we would be speaking of something totally different. And it then tells the story that we have always called about, that corruption does more damage than it can ever do good to even to an individual who do that corruption. That's why we find ourselves today with this particular situation. We have challenges of trains, we have challenges of logistics. That's why the president even had to put in place the National Logistics Crisis Committee and so forth. And the root cause is these 1064 trains, which could not be delivered for the reasons that those who must appear before the courts of the country and answer have to do that. We are happy, and we call upon the prosecuting authority, we call upon the judiciary in its entirety to ensure that this matter is attended as speedily as possible, so that the little that can be recouped, one, is recouped. Secondly, that whatever can be done to ensure that we have trains back, logistic goods on rail, we are able to resolve that, because for as long as our goods are on the road, we'll continue to have more people dying, we'll continue to have more people claiming from RAP, we'll continue to have Sanral having to spend money to fix the road. We want the goods to go back to the rail, and we can only do that if interventions like this, which we applaud from the prosecuting authority, from the judiciary, is done. So it's our call. It's a call that we make on behalf of the people of South Africa, that let's get to the root of this thing, let's get it resolved, and let's have the trains running.
You know, Mr. Khaas, there's a statement that's come in from the MK party in response to the appearance of Molefe and Gama in court. And I want to actually just read it out. We'll read out from parts of it. They say, "We reject the notion that these arrests are rooted in genuine pursuit of justice. Instead, they are part of a broader, deeply troubling campaign that seeks to intimidate and criminalize black professionals, intellectuals, and revolutionaries, particularly those associated with the MK party." What do you make of that argument that here you've got a targeting of black professionals, intellectuals, and revolutionaries to intimidate? What do you make of that?
I don't know what a revolution means, or what is so revolutionary about the conduct that is alleged to have been perpetrated by the said individuals, where there are victims who are actually a factor that does seem to escape parties such as the MK party. As Mr. Selamolela has said, this is not a victimless crime, and to the extent that there were people who shared their lives because of the amount of trucks that were still on the road, when that they could actually be replaced by the cargo being moved via the rail. It's really absurd to hear parties such as MK wanting to politicize what is patently an egregious, an allegation of egregious corruption on the part of its members. It is very sad, again, to see individuals who ought to know better that it cannot be it is further from the truth that this is any assault on the said individuals by the criminal justice system, when in fact the criminal justice system is actually trying to vindicate the rights of South Africans who seek justice, who seek to ensure that those who have done wrong by them actually are called to account. And therefore it would be laughable if it wasn't so serious, this comment by the MK party. And we call on all political parties to ensure that when they act responsibly, even if in defense of their own members, especially in cases such as this, because this is quite a very, a very serious matter. And it was, as it turns out, Transnet was just the stepping stone to even more corruption, because the very same individuals carried through the same conduct where they went on at Eskom. And just for me to add also, Naledi, just on that point, remember who also ought to have been the CEO of Transnet. We had an individual with impeccable credentials, an outstanding citizen of this country, who was meant to be CEO of Transnet. But because he was not, is somebody who's upright, somebody who was not bent, he was actually shunted. And we've seen that Mr. Maseko, what he actually went on to do with Telkom, where he actually turned around the fortunes of Telkom. It means Transnet itself ought to have been a beneficiary, and thus South Africa would be a beneficiary of the kind of business acumen and leadership that would otherwise have been brought to bear by the likes of Mr. Sipho Maseko and whoever would have joined him at Transnet. But for the fact that the then president preferred to have individuals who are beholden to him, does it then surprise us that MK would take this position to defend the individuals whom their own party president had actually sought to corruptly actually have appointed at Transnet?
Mr. Selamolela, just your final thoughts, and if you'd like to respond to the comments made by the MK party. But I think just as chair as well of the Transport Portfolio Committee, I mean, what you make of the optics of this? Yes, 10 years after these allegations certainly surfaced, but we're talking about members of parliament. Should that be a concern for South Africans?
Look, first, on the statement of the MK party is just quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate, and I think it's a tendency we need to condemn, where if Selamolela and Khaas are afforded an opportunity to appear before the court of law to answer for themselves what the prosecuting authority says they think they may have done, there's no need for me or for anyone to be rallying behind Khaas and Donald to say they have not done wrong, because the judiciary afford us an opportunity to come and answer for ourselves. An opportunity has been created for those that MK seeks to want to protect, to come and answer for themselves to what is it that they know about this unfortunate thing that we all agree has created a problem in the country. And I think even the individuals that are called upon, they also know that this 1064 contract is what has collapsed the Transnet in the country. There's no question about the fact that that has collapsed Transnet. So it's quite sad that you have a party that will then want to make a preemptive strike. We don't know what informs that, what they know that which we do not know. But what we know for sure is that those that are accused are afforded an opportunity to go and state their story, and they will be judged on merit on whether they were wrong or right. Okay. It's up to them to go and present their story. So there's no need to be political about this particular matter. Like I said, we must, as the people of South Africa, welcome this. We must just be worried the fact that it took way too long, because it has been 10 years now, and the impact of this has been very devastating, like I stated, on the economy and on the livelihoods. This has cut down to the deep to a person in the rural village of Arakwele who this crisis has touched in his pocket, who this crisis has touched in their families. So it's not something that we can be running around politicking about who's wrong, who's right. When a proper process is being put into place in motion today, and Palm Ridge, that people must come and account for what they know to have done. Right. So there shouldn't be. And
go ahead, you can have that final thought, Mr. Selamolela.
Yes, so we welcome this. We will, from the portfolio committee, be monitoring this closely. Of course, it is said that some of the people who are appointed out are our colleagues in Parliament, and we hope that they, and strongly believe, we have no doubt, that they will cooperate with this particular process until to its end, in the interest of this entity, which is at the hard core of the economy of the Republic. That's what's important for us. It is said that they had to be pointed out at this particular point, but of course they have something to answer, and we strongly believe that they will answer. That's what's important for us. But as the portfolio will be monitoring this issue closely, at some stage, if it warrants that we must also go to the court and sit there and listen to what would have transpired, we'll definitely do that.
Gentlemen, I wish we had more time, but your insights have been so valuable. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Donald Selamolela there, who is the Transport Portfolio Committee Chairperson, and of course, Mr. Tebogo Khaas, who is the founder and chairperson of Public Interest South Africa. Well, you're still watching Newsfeed PM, the late edition. Let's take a short break. More news on the other side.